You may remember back to the first online tutorial in this series where we looked at what is good assessment and the key or core principles of good assessment and what are assessment standards. And you should remember that these principles and standards run right through the assessment process, the planning of assessment through to the conducting of assessment. In this particular tutorial, we're going to actually look at the more nuts and bolts aspects of assessment, which is the approach, methods and items. And what this means is this, that when we conduct assessment, sometimes we focus on a particular broad approach. For example, it could be traditional exam based. That is that most of the assessments will be in a closed exam situation. We have many of these still on courses in the Polytechnic. However, sometimes we focus more on in-course assessment, where the students do it in their own time, and sometimes focusing more on direct performance. And one of the workshops in this series looks very specifically at performance-based assessment. However, when you do assessment, you are basically asking students to do things, and typically this will be some kind of question set. The question may be a very basic factual question, or it may be a project-based question. And that's where we talk about the methods of assessment. And essentially the methods will fall into two camps. One is where the students are given a choice of answers. For example, in an MCQ situation, there is a fixed response. They choose A, B, C, D, E, whatever, or in a true or false situation, true or false. The other broad type of methods are open response, and that is that the student puts in the input. So when they have to answer long essay type questions, they have to provide all of the assessment evidence. And when we talk about the term an assessment item, that is simply a term to refer to one question within any of the methods used. So we'll be going through this, looking at these different methods in particular and identifying how to design them, and also what are the advantages in terms of getting useful assessment evidence, remember the core principles, and also what their limitations are. So you're in a position at the end of this particular tutorial to decide on your broad assessment approach, the types of methods that you want to use in relation to your learning outcomes and students, and be able to design these based on good design principles for that method type.